Hey everybody, welcome back on board. Now before we talk about the elephant in the room, please consider joining our Discord as myself and other pirates are actively trying to decipher what the bloody hell is going on. So yeah, if you fancy a bit of detective work, just check the description down below for the Discord link. So, most of us know who Duke is, but for a lot of new players, and for those that don't, here's a quick rundown. Duke is a representative of the Bilge Rats who would send you on adventures and mercenary voyages. Duke was replaced at his post in the tavern by Stitcher Jim, who claimed that Duke had entrusted the black market and Bilge Rats to him. A note was left on the tavern bar, allegedly from Duke, that detailed he had gone off to find Lorena, the leader of the Bilge Rats, for help against the increased skeleton activity in the Sea of Thieves. Duke eventually returned to the tavern covered in cuts and bruises from attempting to investigate Flameheart's lair. When asked about his absence, Duke seemed oblivious to any note that had been left by himself about finding Lorena. With Flameheart amassing a fleet of ghost ships, the pirate lord enlisted Duke to help in handing out special voyages to prepare the pirates of the Sea of Thieves for dangers that lie ahead. Lorena, leader of the Bilge Rats, now resides at the tavern, taking on all duties that Duke was once entrusted with. He then travels to the Lagoon of Whispers to take a break alongside his friend Umbra. He also took the time to learn to read and write. However, without telling Umbra, Duke absconded to the mermaids' hideaway on an investigation into some legends of a particular treasure. This brings us to Krakens Fall. Atop a peak next to a lantern stands Duke, a rather animated one too at that. Before, he was at Mermaid's Hideaway, inspecting an underground pool opening where below, draped in the ocean's blue, is a mermaid statue. He claims he's chasing legends, searching for treasure, along with admitting that the reason he left Umbra alone on the Lagoon of Whispers was that he couldn't face having her take him for a fool again. This, I'm sure, being a callback to when Duke left the tavern and was replaced by Stitcher Jim. Makes you wonder whether something happened behind the scenes. Jim may be telling Duke a few lies prior to Duke's disappearance, resulting in him receiving injuries as well as losing an eye while attempting to investigate Flameheart's lair. So seeing as he was most likely fooled by a well-known coward and liar, it's safe to assume that Duke is searching for legend that most in the Sea of Thieves think to only exist in legend. He goes on to claim that something big is happening and that he's going to get to the bottom of it, once and for all. So whatever he is investigating is something that could be considered, for want of a better word, a household name. Something that is commonly spoken about, but in this case, hard to believe and unsolved. So, back to Krakens Fall. Duke appears once again and seemingly joyous with confidence by exclaiming that he's after something more valuable than gold, the truth. Because knowledge is power, almost like our own resident Alex Jones here in the Sea of Thieves. He's on the right track this time though, as he allowed himself before to be distracted by tales of treasure that probably doesn't exist, most likely something Stitcher Jim fed to him. While searching some islands, Duke tells us that he feels he's stumbled across some clues as to what's really going on in the Sea of Thieves, the first being on Krakens Fall, the island he's currently on, sitting next to some sort of altar thing. He's talking about Grey Marrow's summoning altar, and to the left, we find the rune. And on the rune, after inspecting it, we find out that there's 3 words etched into it: Grey, Waking, and Moonlight. The word Waking stands out a lot, seeing as the altar is used to wake Grey Marrow from the dead. The next location he speaks of is Mermaid's Hideaway. We know this as he says that he stumbled upon another while I was... where was it again? The place I investigated last month. I like how his dialogue really emphasises how forgetful he is, almost having the memory of a fish. The room we find has something carved into it that resembles a curved path that splits into 2. The words Merfolk, I, and hiding are found to be etched on the rune too. I feel like we're getting an incredibly strong indication of fish or mermaids in general with this rune. Of course the location and word mermaid, but the curved path that splits in 2 reminds me of possible transformation that a human's legs would go through if they were to begin transforming into a mermaid. The next he claims that he had to hold his breath to find. He wasn't sure the island even had a name, but the island he speaks of is the unmarked one known as K9. Lying on a rotten barrel inside a deep, dark and dingy underwater cave, we find a 3rd rune. Carved into it is what resembles a droplet tumbling from a diamond, and the words sorrow, below and coral. Now granted, you could say the words below and coral are significant, seeing as this cave is below the island and hidden amongst coral, but I feel like this combination of words is almost too obvious, and that not every single word we find has a purpose to this mystery. The 4th and so far final rune can be found within the Pirate Lord's hideout. Nothing too special about this one other than something that resembles the numeral 5 being carved into the rune. So, let's have a roundup. Rune 1, Krakens Fall. The rune resembles a shining triangle with the words grey, waking and moonlight. Rune 2, found at Mermaid's Hideaway. The rune resembling a curving path which forks into 2. The words etched on it, Merfolk, eye and hiding. Rune 3 can be found on Canine Island. The rune resembles a droplet tumbling from a diamond. The words coral, below and sorrow can be found there too. And Rune 4, located within the Pirate Lord's hideout, on a bench next to the ghostly musician, is a rune that resembles the numeral 5. There are many theories flying around at the moment as to what the combination of words means. Do we take every word as it is? Do we only focus on one word from each rune? What exactly are the etchings supposed to reveal? A shining triangle, a curving path that forks into 2, a droplet tumbling from a diamond, and a rune carved resembling the numeral 5. It's all very exhausting and it's only been a week or so. But if I was to take a random stab in the dark at a particular location that much of this will eventually lead to, it would be the Shores of Gold. An island this magnificent has way too much going on to just be a location for a tall tale. There are too many dots being connected, and some curiosities of mine alone that I feel have a lot more behind them. While doing some research on any possible theories floating around as to what the hell's going on, I found this comment from Scribbles on Reddit, which to me so far has been the best theory that I've found explaining what could possibly be going on with Duke right now. It reads as follows. Duke wanted to go back out to sea. Merchant crews started disappearing, not dead or cursed. As this happens, Duke suddenly thinks something big is happening that no one knows about. Duke runs away from Umbra to avoid looking like a fool if his suspicion doesn't turn out to be true. He runs to old Merfolk and ancient meeting grounds. In the books it's stated that the Merfolk hid translator earrings at their old meeting places in anticipation for the return of the ancients. Duke is looking for a treasure in these meeting grounds that will help him find answers somehow, and he's not sure that it even exists. He thinks his suspicion is crazy enough to have to keep his digging hidden. In Tales from the Sea of Thieves, it's stated that the thought of Mer turning humans into merfolk themselves is seen as ridiculous, and the Mer are generally pinned as harmless. In conclusion, Duke thinks that the merchant disappearances are tied to the merfolk transforming most of the crew, hence explaining why they are missing without being dead or bound to their remains. He's looking for a similar pair of translator merfolk earrings to the ones that Mercia and Belle both found in the books, and is at Mermaids looking for them so that he can go digging for answers straight from the merfolk. He ran because he knows that merfolk transforming sailors is seen as an outlandish children's tale and lended little credence. It really does make a whole lot of sense when you think about the fact that we've just recently been introduced to the Merchant Alliance voyages, and when you do in fact find the ship that you are after, it's rather strange how the captain is the only one that's gone down. Unfortunately, that is it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed the breakdown and possible theory as to what is going on with Duke, and maybe it's led to your own theory. If you have any thoughts, leave them in the comments section down below or join our Discord. The link can be found in the description or the top pinned comment. Thanks again, be safe, be well, and I'll see you again soon.